All right, cool. So now we go back to Netflix and Friends, and we talk about a film called Back to the Outback, a film that not many people probably have heard of. At least, not many people who do not have small children would have heard of this. So I have done through this, like going through this whole thing where. Sometimes when my daughter can't sleep, we just go downstairs in the middle of the night to sort of give her mom a break, and we just go onto Netflix and we look for animated movies, and we see what comes up. And Back to the Outback comes up, and this is animated, 3D animated, and it has animals in it, which okay, cool. With a kid, this is onto a
Yeah,
winner.
yeah.
This is onto a winner, and also it has a koala as the a central animal on it. So obviously you're like, oh my god, yeah, yeah, yeah. You're like, play this for the kid. The first time I came across this film, they have this trailer, and they have a trailer, and this trailer tells you nothing about the film. It tells you nothing about the film. It is just the main animals from the film dancing to a German dance track. It is
Wow.
random and it is brilliant. It is random and it is
Random. I
brilliant.
love randomness.
Now, honestly, Sean, I will send you the link to this of the animals dancing to this song called the song. They dance to a song called Coincidence, and it just has this refrain that goes, "Wow, you can really dance." And I remember watching this thing and going, "There is no way this film is anywhere close to as inventive as that trailer is. That trailer is the best thing." And so I didn't watch this thing for ages. I just thought, no, it's going to be rubbish. It's going to be middle of the road. It's going to be some trying to be Pixar, but some Pixar nonsense. Then so I played it for my daughter, and she was watching it and everything. But every now and then I would catch a glimpse of this film, and I'll be like, "Oh, that was actually quite clever." I'll catch another glimpse and be like, "Oh, that was actually quite clever." And so I've essentially watched this whole film in bits while my daughter's watching because she keeps asking for koala dancing, and I am shocked. This is a very good film. It's a very, very good film. It's animated, it's set in Australia, and the whole idea behind it is that you have this Australian wildlife park in Sydney, and it's across the road from the Sydney Opera House. And so you have this wildlife park, and you have all these animals. There's a taipan snake, there's a funnel web spider, there is a spiky kind of thing. I can't remember what it is, and there's a scorpion, and the all ideas that they're all venomous. And there's this character who is obviously based on like Stephen Irwin or somebody who is a wannabe Stephen Irwin.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
he keeps talking about, yeah, these are the most dangerous animals in the whole world. And he keeps bringing them out. And the idea is that the animals, they go, you know what? We don't want to be seen as dangerous. We don't want to be seen as monsters. And they say, while we're in captivity, we want to escape. We want to go back to the outback, where the title comes from. But when they're trying to back to the outback, the most popular animal in the zoo or the wildlife park is this koala called Pretty Boy. And and this koala called Pretty Boy has like a Twitter page and Instagram and has all these followers. And there's even astronauts in space who watch the live feed of Pretty Boy sleeping, and everybody's like, oh my god, Pretty Boy. But the idea is that Pretty Boy is a total diva and he's a horrible thing. And while they're trying to escape, Pretty Boy starts drawing attention to them. So they essentially take him with him. They more or less kidnap Pretty Boy. And it's about these animals going from Sydney, trying to get back to the outback. And I really like this. I mean,
Sounds intriguing.
no, no,
Sounds
honestly, the voice cast it's almost kind of like it's the voice. Hang on a second. Oh, battery's dead. Never mind, we're almost done. And the voice cast for this is crazy. It's crazy because it's almost kind of like if you think of an Australian who left and made it big in Hollywood, and apart from a couple like Hugh Jackman and Kate Blanchett, but the lead character, the Taipan Snake Maddie, is voiced by Isla Fisher.
okay.
The funnel web spider, he's like it's mate, and they had this joke where it's mating season. It's mating season, but because he's the only funnel web spider in captivity, he can't mate with anybody. And it's like this running joke about essentially in a kids movie, they get a joke about how there's this horny spider in the middle of it that doesn't have anybody to do anything with. And he has this twig that he holds onto her and he keeps dancing, doing this mating dance, but he got it. And that spider, that horny funnel well spider, is voiced by Guy Pearce.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's voiced by Guy Pearce. You have Eric Bana, and Eric Bana is in this film, and he plays the Steve Irwin wannabe called Chaz Hunt. And he's the one chasing these animals, trying to get them back, and everything. And then it's intimated that he might not be all that all the stories that he tells might not be true, and it's. And so you have all these different things, all these different characters, and it does the whole thing. Obviously, we've spoken about Australia before in this podcast, and we spoke about the film, The Nightingale, and how in my head I feel like if you're going to do something in Australia, you need to acknowledge something about it, even if it's a kid's film. And they do things like that where they have like there's a bit where there's an Aboriginal child who grows up, and the way the Aboriginal child is treated in the film with the animals and everything. I'm like, I actually really, really like this. So I've in bits over the last 3-4 months, I've watched this film. And it's a kind of film that when my daughter asks for it, I'm more than happy to put it on. I'm happy to watch it in the background, and I would give it a 4 out of 5 because and there are times when I'm watching it and I have to turn to my wife and go, "This is good, isn't it?" And she's like, "Yeah, it's really good." I'm like, "This is clever, isn't it?" It's like, "Yes, it is," because I'm just kind of like this. Everything about this film when I first saw it said subpar Pixar nonsense, and it just like put up in the background on a Saturday afternoon and forget about it. Use it to distract your kids. But I would say back to the Outback, give it a watch on Netflix. It's actually good, and I would give it a 4 out of 5. It is clever. Oh, and I forgot to say Tim Minchin. Tim Minchin voices the koala, and I think Tim Minchin is hilarious. Some of the lines in this, there's some clever things. There's a line about Mad Max that made my wife crack up, and it's good. It's good. Watch it. Be surprised. That's what I'd say. 4 stars for Back to the Outback.
Lovely.
So